Hello, Aztec, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us on YouTube for the first time, this is a series where I look over your deck's PP and tell you about what's wrong with it. Your deck's PP is your premise and your practicum. The premise of your deck is the idea behind it, what you hope it does, what it might do if you get the perfect draw. Your practicum is the cards you put in the 99, and if they help you get to that idea of it. So we'll spend a couple minutes talking about what this deck builder wants to do, if that's realistic, and then if it is, spend the rest of the time getting into, well, what did you pick? Is that enabling you or is it holding you back? So this idea is bracket 3 mill combo, everybody's favorite. That's not the problem to me. The problem to me is we appear to have a couple issues that are likely better discussed with a therapist than me. But we talk about, we don't want cards that are too expensive. We don't want to use free interaction, but we do want to be bracket 3. We do want to be a combo, but we want to be very interactable. And it's not that you can't do these things. There's nothing morally wrong with doing these things, but I think it bears pointing out that what you are setting up is less of a commander deck, more of a D&D villain that is meant to lose. Being very precise with my language there. It's setting up an experience for other people of slowly ticking doomsday clock. You have clear ways to interact with it, and there's going to be a moment where I go shields down, right? Because my immediate response when I read your primer and it said, hey, I don't want to have free interaction is, okay, well then we never tap out. Like, we don't have to run free interaction. There's 1 mana interaction. There's 2 mana interaction. We just always hold the mana up for the interaction. But when I read it again, it seems a lot like you both want to do the combo and want to go shields down, which is at a core conflict with the colors you've picked. And that's why I talk about this, like we're setting up a D&D villain that's meant to lose. And there's nothing wrong with that. Commander is very, very similar to D&D. It's okay to chase the narrative over the mechanical output. I just want to make sure that you are at peace with that before I keep walking down this road. Because what blue-black very much wants to do is make you think they are shields down and then not actually be shields down. Part of why we get so much free interaction. It's part of why we get all the manaless counter spells, why we have all these tricky little ways to untap our stuff, why we have stuff like Daze that lets you bounce an island instead of actually having to pay the cost for the spell. And so if we're doing, you know, it strikes me as the equivalent of a UFC fighter dropping their hands. It's a very compelling taunt. But the problem is a UFC fighter can actually be quick enough to put their hands back up, whereas you are at the mercy of whatever you top deck. So if we go shields down, it's a lot more like a UFC fighter allowing somebody to hit them with their hands down. Which, if you survive, huge aura moment. Big W. I can see that. I can respect that. We just have to be at peace with, okay, 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, whatever, it ends with us unceremoniously getting knocked out. And if that is the role we want to play, aces. I've been that guy. It can be a very fun role to play in the right playgroup. Other than that, or if you don't like the sound of that, you're probably going to have to dig in more on a personal level about why you think free counter spells are icky, why you think cards that are over a certain amount of money are icky, because I think there's a whole wealth of game interaction that's going to be very fun for you that lies on the other side of that. But for the time being, we will proceed with, you don't want to do free counter spells, so we're just not tapping out, buddy. So we have Curdle, or Krydle. When he deals combat damage to a player, they lose a life and mill a card, then we gain 1 and scry 1. Holy fuck. Wow. That would have been such a great roast opening if I had said all that about us going back and forth on whether or not it was justifiable to play Fierce Guardianship, and I scroll straight into a Rhystic Study. That's beautiful. Okay. So we have Rhystic Study to draw 1,000,000 cards. When we attack, we can make Krydle unblockable. So Kreidel doesn't really like do anything to mill people effectively, right? He just gives us, he also doesn't really give us effective card selection. We just get to scry one. So that means we have to find the pieces of our combo. Our commander is not making the combo easy, like meaningfully easier to pull off. We're probably going to have to go infinite because I can't imagine. Yeah, Kreidel's not going to be able to deal enough combat damage to like get their decks down enough that like Water Crystal River Churn is going to matter. So we have Memory Erosion, Fraying Sanity, all the normal like, hey, mill more stuff. Okay. I don't understand what Eldritch Pact is doing there. I mean, it'll finish one player for 7 mana. Sure. What are our other game changers? Psych Rift. What's our last one? Orcish Bowmasters. How married are we to these? No more game changes than the 3 I have and no pivoting away from mill. Great. So what I would say is I disagree with the game changers you have picked. I think what you want, because you are a combo deck and you have picked like control-y game changers instead of, hey, let me go find my combo pieces. If we also have a mental gap about tutors, like straight up therapist, straight up, there's something, if we're like Rhystic Study, cool, Demonic Tutor, uncool, there's something locked up in there that we can't unwind outside of a Zoom call where I pretend to have qualifications that I don't have. Stone Speaker Crystal. Okay, quite bad. We have a lot of ramp too. That's interesting to me. So we have Dowsing Dagger. Like, Dowsing Dagger I kind of get because we can flip this with an unblockable creature. Like, sure. Coveted Jewel is just like throwing the game. We're not going to have a big board of creatures. We can't defend this. We can get it back, but this is like group hug. Like, if you're trying to do a combo game plan, you don't want people to go like, oh, draw 3 new cards. Like, oh, I counterspelled you? Well, what if you had 3 cards to replace the thing I counterspelled? So that's going to be rough. Mill 10, that's cute. Where's the core combo here? So you have Bruvac, Maddening Cacophony. All right. We have Bloodchief Ascension for sure. We have Nighthawk Scavenger. Okay, okay. So I think we have stared too long into the abyss, quite frankly. I think we have. Okay, we're somewhat getting there. Wow. We have both really good stuff and really cute stuff, and I'm trying to disentangle the really good stuff from the really cute stuff. I like Pure Psychic Corrosion. I think really what's going on here is you have a whole host of different two card combos, right? We just saw in the primer, there's a ton of different things that are like A plus B, I get you. Which is great. And normally what we want to do about that is just get to those faster rather than playing other stuff. And so like Sword of Body and Mind seems kind of like a misadventure. It seems like a detour from what we want to do. Azure Beastbinder, really cute control piece. Like Barrogoyf, I don't know, adorable. But there's no way that you have run the entire gamut of tutors. And so I think the question that stands out to me is, if we want this to be a combo deck that puts all its stuff on board, why do we have cute thing instead of diabolic tutor, instead of hold on, it's the one with Spree, it's from Thunder Junction, I'm not going to look you up, instead of Lively Dirge, instead of, I think there may even be more transmute cards that we're not using here, like the choice, never mind, it's not Fogbank. Because we have, let's see, we have 4 mana combo pieces. I think we have 2 mana combo pieces. So there's like Dimir Infiltrator, who's another transmute target. There's Drift of Phantasms, which can go get you Rhystic Study. Perplex can get you Rhystic Study and is a really funny counterspell. And so maybe this is just you've been someone who builds from collection and what you open, and you're not deeply familiar with Scryfall O tags, in which case I would encourage you to get deeply familiar with Scryfall O tags. But I think with something like mill combo, we want to be pretty tightly focused, because if we're not finding our combo pieces, we're doing like nothing. We're just waiting. Okay, so we're not totally tutor reverse. Then I would say the number one thing we should do is just way more tutors. Like the stuff like Sword of Body and Mind, Barrow Goyf. Oh, and this just makes us mill. And so it's just like maybe a blocker. Dustmantle Guildmage, this would work with Mind Crank, right? If we had do we have Mind Crank? We do have Mind Crank. Okay. Yeah, see, okay. So I think I'm getting to the heart of it now. You have 70% of bracket 3 deck, and then we have a couple like bracket 2 mess around cards in there. And that's fine, right? It's dealer's choice when you make a commander deck. You want to make something that that you love and that you enjoy. But I think that the thing of like, okay, well, I'm going to try to get a mill combo, and if I can't do it, I'm going to pivot. I think pivoting is the mistake. In terms of, I'm going to pivot to like a different strategy that also utilizes the graveyard, because you don't need to pivot. If we just count up like how many different 2-card win conditions do we have in this deck, like you just don't have to. You're going to get there some way. And I think every time you draw a pivot piece when you could have drawn something that makes game plan number 1 go off in the first place, it would make me sad. I don't know if it makes you sad, but it would make me sad. So like Xerath San, super bracket 2. Tashana's Tidebinder is like fucking CED, bracket 4 almost, not quite CEDH, I don't think. But like neat control piece. Teresian Mindbreaker is much more of a bracket 2 card in my mind, because it's so expensive. Yeah, like Sewer Nemesis is another thing where it's like, okay, this is gonna do fucking bullshit for us. It has no evasion, it has no protection, it's not super cheap, it requires most of the game plan to have already happened. When we can just make the thing you want to happen, which is the mill combo, happen pretty expeditiously. I think Rune Crab's cute. It's a little bit disconnected from the deck you have made, and I think that's another one of these discrepancies in terms of going from bracket 2 mill to bracket 3 mill and doing combo mill. Like, you are much more a combo deck than you are a mill deck. If we look at every interaction you have laid out in the primer, your deck does not care about Krydle, and your deck does not care about milling. What you care about is assembling a 2-card combo and using that 2-card combo to effectuate the end of the game, which is why I'm talking so much about tutors instead of, whereas you're going like, but it's a mill deck, and Guilt Feeder cares about the fact that I've milled you, and Nighthawk Scavenger cares about the fact that I've milled you. So does Night Howler, and Consuming Aberration mills you, and Cruel Somnophage mills you, and cares about all the cards you've milled. Like, you're both right, and I would argue that you are wrong about what the deck is about at the point you want it to be a combo deck. If you're willing to stop short of it being a combo deck, I do think mill has gotten so many tools that it doesn't have to be a combo deck. You can be a mill control deck, and you can try to assemble things. I already saw Riverturn Monument in the deck, but you can try to assemble, cuter engines like Water Crystal. You can throw in Lance Armstrong's Missing Testicle, and you can just be like, okay, my goal is to stay alive while I bimbify you. If you don't know the bit, it's about like how, because Magic is a wizard duel, if you're milling somebody, you're emptying all the thoughts from their head. You're making them a himbo. I don't know. I like it. So that is the distinction I would cut. The cards that I think fall into that broad strategy are Sword of Body in Mind, for sure. Evil Bitch, by the way. Whispering Madness, for sure. Nuclear Fallout, but I can see it as like second copy of Toxic Deluge, and you don't really care about the rads. Eldritch Pact, 100%. Probably Kitsune's Technique, just because it doesn't hit everybody. And you're gonna be like, but Maul, it could be a 2-card combo, and like, yes, it can. It can be our Chaomancer who gets back Maddening Cacophony if our first win attempt is stuffed. Be our Chaomancer who gets back Demonic Tutor. You can Snapcaster Mage, get a removal piece back. Like, it's what you have done here is picked a lot of like, all right, I have my A+ win combos, and then I have the stuff that is like the B+, B-. I don't have too many C's. I maybe have 1 or 2 C+. And when you want to be a combo deck and you want that to function cleanly, you want to be on like, what are A+? What are things that protect my A+? And then what are things that search out or recur my A+? And I don't play B's or B+. Very cute. I'm going to presume this is like some type of meta hit on your pod. Okay, so then back on the what is more like bracket 2 milli, like Barrogoyf, Somnophage, even Consuming Aberration, Guilt Feeder, Night Howler, Prosperous Thief, Rune Crab, Sewer Nemesis, Teresian. You have Reanimate. It's not impossible for us to cheat this guy out, but he's definitely on the cuter side. And then Zareth-san and Kaito as well, I would say. And so like, it's not that these cards are horrible, it's just that they are supporting a more like, I'm going to get you 5 cards at a time strategy, where all that you actually care about with how this deck is currently laid out is, do I have piece A? Do I have piece B? Can I play them? Did one of them get killed? Next combo on the list. Do I have piece A? Do I have piece B? Can I play them? And then you have cards that I think are just like outright bad. Like Coveted Jewel, outright bad. If it's a pet card, keep it. Fucking sucks. Stone Speaker Crystal, I think also outright sucks. I think you are trying... This to me is the dark side of you not liking free interaction. And also, based on your counterspell list, it kind of seems like you don't like interaction, period. Where You've gone, oh, well, I want to have clear interaction points, but I feel bad about counterspells. So instead of playing counterspells, which would be incredibly thematic for the type of cloak and dagger shit this guy's trying to do, um, I have to construct additional pylons. I have to play really bad ramp so that I can pay for that like 9 mana win out of hand, because you have realized, oh, playing them one at a time doesn't work. Like we're so some of these choices seem more seated in a bracket 2 approach than a bracket 3 approach, or not even bracket 2 versus 3. Some of these choices seem more rooted in an engine-based mill approach than a combo-based mill approach, and I want to emphasize just how different those two things are. And then some of these choices appear to be in direct conflict with you not wanting to protect this combo in the way your color is good at protecting the combo, but you still want to protect the combo. Like a true shields down, if you get me player wouldn't play fat ramp like this to do it all in one turn. They would just lay down Bruvac and be like, if you get me, you get me. And that's why I made all those little jokes about therapy. Like, there's something in there. There's something in there. Because if you just need graveyard hate, there's better graveyard hate. Yeah, I'm going to move on from this one. I think this card clean sucks for this deck. Oh, we do have Lance Armstrong's Missing Testicle. Wonderful. Coveted Jewel, clean sucks. Price of Fame, clean sucks. Brains of Power is very funny. Tail's End, clean sucks. I would say this doesn't clean suck if you had other counterspells, but we have like the two weakest counterspells in the game, where we give somebody back something because we feel bad about counterspelling them, and then we have Tail's End. Like, there's so much other stuff we could be doing. And then Speed Demon sucks, but I love him. And I think if you just tore all of those out, you could have a much better time either playing more advantage engines, playing more interaction, whether that is removal to keep yourself alive, whether that is fairly priced counterspells to keep Bruvac alive. Because I feel like, and I realize that I'm like projecting way too hard on the presence of Stone Speaker Crystal, but like between Crystal, Coveted Jewel, and Dowsing Dagger, it really feels like you tried to do, and Soul Ring, it really feels like you tried to do a ramp package that could support the 9 mana thing. And you talked about like Bruvac's better in your hand than he is as a blocker. If the reason we want to do a telegraphed mill combo and not play manaless interaction is to create positive narrative tension, part of creating that positive narrative tension has to be showing Bruvac's ass on the board. I think it is much more interesting if the deck is built to play Bruvac, leave 2 mana open, and hope that you can counterspell or can protect him. You know, even if you don't like counterspells, you can be like, okay, I play Bruvac, I hate counterspells, I want to do fair interaction, I'm going to keep a slip out the back and try to phase him out. And then you guys need to have 2 pieces of removal to layer to get rid of him. Like, those to me are all more interesting than I go shields up and wait till I have enough mana to play it out in such a way that you would need a counterspell or you would need instant speed interaction. That feels like it creates the narrative tension that we're seeking. And then if you want to do the engine deck, do the engine deck. You may even enjoy building 2 versions of this deck. One that is the engine-based deck, which gets like the water crystal. You could do like dumb more trigger doublers to like double trigger your commander, which would not even be good, but again, you would be back in bracket 2 where you don't need to be good. And I think you could have a lot of fun with that as well. I just think right now there's 3 wolves inside of you who all love mill and combos, but for different reasons, and they're kind of butting heads. So whatever happens with the deck, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope this helped.